So we are doing the haunches in on the fence right now, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways of how you can help your horse bring their nose towards the inside of the arena. So her nose will be coming towards me, and I also want to show you the front view and show you what the 3-track or the 4th track or the 4 tracks looks like. She usually overdoes her hip just a little bit, so you'll see that. But this horse, I've probably had about 6 or 7 sessions on this now. For the haunches in, and it was very hard for her to bring the nose and the hip towards me at the same time, because usually when we teach the hip to come towards us, especially on the fence, we push the horse's nose away. So you're going to want to establish a cue where the nose comes towards you when you tap the shoulder. And the way you do that is you can grab the nose physically on the side of the halter right here on the knot, and you can bring it towards you right here at the standstill. Then walk backwards, stop, and then tap the shoulder and bring the nose towards you. So tap the shoulder, bring the nose towards you, good girl, and give her a treat right here towards the point of the shoulder. And her hip came towards me, and you can see that the right hind foot is almost behind the left front foot. It's a little bit further in than this foot. So that would be her putting her feet on 4 tracks. 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? If I want a 3-track for haunches in, I need that right hind foot to be perfectly aligned behind this foot, so being on the 2nd track. And the left hind foot would be on the 3rd track, and we would not have the 4th track at all. So that's ideal, but right now we're not going to worry about that. Right now we're just focusing on bringing the nose. There you go. So this time I used a little bit different technique. Instead of pulling the nose towards me like this, I actually touched right here on the outside and I blocked her nose. So that's the technique number 2. And you can either grab the nose like this, tap the shoulder, bring the nose in. She's already doing her hip to the inside, but she's giving me a little bit too much hip, so I'm going to touch her rib cage, stop. Push the hip away just a little bit. There. Good girl. Now we have a 3-track. Little too much hip. I'm going to fix that. There. Good girl. Some horses don't give you enough hip and some horses overdo it. She's overdoing it a little bit, so I'm going to add a little bit of forward to it too. There. 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 Good girl. But I need to be able to tap the shoulder and get the nose towards me. Eventually, you'll be able to just tap the shoulder like this and have the handle part towards the outside hip, and you're going to be able to just tap here, and you're going to get the hip and the nose like this just off of the light tap right there. Good. So the other way you can get this started is you can stand in front of the horse, put your hand between the nose and the fence, and you can either hold the halter and pull the nose towards you, or you can block it as they get better at it. See there? I'm going to tap the rib cage so I don't get so much hip. There we go. So you can see that she's bringing me, good girl, she's bringing me quite a bit of nose towards the inside. So when I gave her the treat, I actually straightened her nose and got her on a vertical towards the point of her chest here. So tapping the shoulder should mean bring your nose towards me like that, like that. Beautiful. A little too much nose. Slow her down. She's getting ahead of me, so if she does, I'll back her up. She's also coming off the fence, so correct all that. Stop the maneuver and correct. Good girl. Good job. Good. Now I'm waiting for the nose. I'm kind of giving her a chance. If I don't get it, I'm going to remind her. There we go, and then leave it alone. And then try again. Again, she's taking her nose away from me. Good girl. Good job. So it takes time for this mare here. It was very difficult to bring that nose in and the hip in at the same time. I really broke it down to just standing here with her, pulling her nose, pushing into her shoulder so she doesn't step towards me. And then I would tap the shoulder, step back, and then remind her of the flexion again. And then eventually I was able to stand in front of her and just block it and go even from the block like that. See that? I'm just pointing that stick towards that shoulder. She's bringing the hip, she's bringing the nose. And that's a good way to get started on it. So if you remember, you tap the shoulder, walk backwards, and then you stop and you push the hip in. You draw the hip in. There we go. And then we're rewarding the nose to come towards us. You can see that he's already doing that. There, I'm getting a little too much. Good boy. I'm getting just a little bit too much hindquarters. Being close to the fence is really good for straightness. Good boy. The same thing. Walk backwards. Stop the horse. They don't get good boy. They don't get ahead of you. Walk backwards. Make sure the shoulder stays out. Draw the hip. Good. So you can see that he's still seeking the fence a little bit, but now he's starting to wean off of it. Good boy. Make sure that you can still get the hip even though you're not all the way on the fence. I might step off the fence a little bit more. See if I still get the hip. I just poke the shoulder a little bit so the shoulder doesn't get on top of me. I do that quite often because they start getting pretty sensitive about it. Good boy. That was really good. Preload a treat if you want to. And then give the treat with some lateral flexion towards you. The other thing you could start doing at this level also is trying to get yourself in a position where you are more next to the horse, walking forward, to where you just tap the shoulder and the hip gets drawn off of the handle part of the stick being above the horse's back to it. So again, you remember the position. You can hold the head, tip the nose towards you, keep the shoulder out, lift your stick up to get the hip to come towards you. There, like that. Back up, tap the shoulder, raise your stick up, and get the hip to come towards you. Eventually, you start combining that. I didn't quite get the hip. You start combining that eventually. There, like that. And they can eventually do it while you're moving. There, good boy. Now I can hold the nose here. I can tap the shoulder and I bring my handle part. You can see that he's kind of getting that a little bit better. Good boy. And then if you don't get the hip, you just easily bring your stick over there, fix it, and then go back here. There. I tap if I need more hip. I'll tap the shoulder. I'll also tap the shoulder if I need the shoulder out more. That's a good position there. And then, good boy. Eventually you can wean off of holding the halter. Good job.